Here in Redbull BattleGround. And this is where things stand. Team Malaysia and Summer's Rift both down to just one life. Summer's Rift without a reflect. Malaysia have theirs, so if they survive till tomorrow, they could look to use that should they get challenged. Although I think teams will be taking that into account. If IG or Secret's coming up to make a challenge, probably expect that Malaysia would reflect it to the other if they make that challenge. So,
well, IG's up next. IG challenged Hellraisers first. I would assume that they would challenge them second.
Hellraiser, at that point, if you're Hellraiser, even with 2 lives, I feel like that's where you say, let's reflect to Secret. At some point, Secret has or IG has to start losing lives if you want to make it to the finals. You gotta play the long game. You can't just look to stay. But you can't look to stay alive. You have to look to get to the finals.
Yeah, that's what we think. But from the team's perspective, they don't want to lose.
Perhaps. But guys, we're gonna get ourselves into the draft. It's time. Summer's Rift versus Team Malaysia. Well, it would be hard for either of these two teams to make it to the finals at this point, but you just got to start one win at a time. Keep yourself alive. You get a fresh night's sleep when you show up tomorrow, and that's where, who knows, maybe you get ignored, maybe IG and Secret start taking games off each other. You never know how things will unravel, but...
Oh, the first ban Viper.
Oh, boy.
They didn't ban it. I'm pretty sure they didn't ban it in the first game, because I remember someone playing it.
Yeah, that was the safe lane KOXY Viper. Secret banned out Viper against Malaysia in like a second ban. So we'll see.
That's
what
the only hero I would consider banning versus Malaysia in the first phase. Viper. Maybe Undying too, but it seems like most teams can actually utilize Undying for themselves.
Malaysia don't mind picking up the Shadow. I mean, Shadow Fiend's more of their mid laner, whereas Viper is that flexible, can go mid, can go safe lane, depending on how they want to do things. But I imagine Malaysia generally go with the Shadow Fiend opening for Ketchik Imba, and he's played some incredible games on that hero. Even one of their losses earlier today was a really good performance by him. So we'll see what Summer's Rift have in mind. If they want the Shadow Fiend, they're going to have to... Well, if they want to deny it, they're going to have to pick it up here as their first pick. But I don't really see that being like a go-to Summer's Rift hero.
Nah, they play it sometimes, but yeah, it's few and far between. And I don't actually know if they care if Malaysia gets Shadow Fiend first.
I don't think that the Shadow Fiend alone is scary. It's more if they get that 5-man composition that can push down a lot of towers and really dominate the mid game. But so much of that's going to come down to the lanes. If Malaysia can get some good early ganks off, if they can get off to a good start. The big problem... Oh, here's Lina. There we go. We talked about this hero being missing, and it's suddenly gone from not picked or banned ultimate long to first pick.
I think they realized that they probably need to give Whitebeard something that does a little bit better into the late game. Last game on a Skywrath, sure, he moved around a little bit, but he gave a first blood, and then after that, he just didn't really have that much of an impact. And on Lina, at least you can just straight up nuke people. You can at least stun people, which is really nice versus mass BKBs, and you also have a potentially BKB piercing ultimate. So I think Lina has a lot more to offer, and it's just a much safer pick than the Skywrath was last game.
Yeah. Also something flexible in that it can sometimes go mid. Occasionally you'll see Brax playing it, but not an amazing matchup versus Shadow Fiend. It's normally more against like a Storm Spirit or a Queen of Pain where you see Lina prefer to just sit back, throw stuns when the hero goes into last hit. So Malaysia gets Shadow Fiend Axe. We've seen Ohio's Axe really shine. There was a game earlier today where he got shut down by the draft, but his actual laning stage was incredible. He got a very fast Blink Dagger, put a lot of pressure onto the dual lane of Team Secret, but it just kind of fell apart after that. Although against Hellraisers, actually, that was that game.
I like it more than their Axe Witch Doctor opener, though, for sure.
Okay.
So, the Gyro. Gyro has been a first phase picked a lot this tournament, and I think for good reason. And I think he's been first picked like 3 times already.
Wow.
He's good. He's really good.
Good against Axe as well.
Yes, he can easily, I would say pretty easily 1v1 versus Axe. You can kind of just zone him out. When there's no creep wave, you just play very aggressively on opposite side of the creeps, and then if he comes up, you rocket barrage him. If he doesn't, you get free farm. Easy, easy. So I would expect that they probably put a 1v1 matchup there, and if I'm Malaysia, I'm looking to dodge that matchup.
Okay, well, we'll see what bans come along with that. So you think Summer's Rift may be going like aggro tri-lane and just giving Gyro a 1v1 if possible?
Or 2-1-2.
Yeah. Seems 2-1-2's been like the kind of trendy way to lane things, at least. I mean, even going back to 6.73, that's what most teams are doing. Looking at like Cloud9, looking at like Invictus Gaming even. There was a lot of dual lanes coming out from the top teams.
There's still a Wisp in the pool, which you usually won't see make it this far, but I don't know if either of these teams plays Wisp.
I've seen Malaysia, it's occasionally like a backup plan for them. Like they'll get a 3rd or 4th pick Wisp, but it's not normally like a go-to strategy of theirs. Summer's Rift, haven't seen enough of them. We'll see if Wisp is maybe something they consider. But Bristleback and Queen of Pain, the 2 bans for now. And then we see the Shadow Shaman taken out. Summer's Rift worried about some of those kind of scary mid-game heroes. We've seen the Mushi Shadow Shaman earlier today, and that just took down too many towers too quickly for Summer's Rift to deal with.
I think they need some aggression. They need heroes that can move around, that can get kills, that can set up for tower pushes. And Axe and Shadow Fiend, yeah, sometimes they can solo kill people, but it's just so easy when you have a support come in, especially against Alina. I mean, Alina's probably going to be support, but Gyrocopter is fairly easy to gank too, I would say.
It's where you want to see like some extra damage to follow up the Axe. Like the Lion or the Skywrath Mage is like those were your 6.83 supports, but these supports also weren't really touched that much coming into 6.84. The Lion Hex nerfed a bit, but
Avenge is still good.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see what they have in mind. Team Malaysia.
Oh, Dazzle would actually be good too.
Oh,
like
yeah,
to
the
see
Dazzle Axe.
from Malaysia.
And then you got a lot of minus armor, Shadow Fiend as well as Dazzle, Amplify. Up the Shadow Fiend's damage, the Axe spin damage.
And as we saw in the first series, they really relied on Roshan. Ooh, Crystal Maiden. Nice. Crystal Maiden's good. I like her because she can bring a lot of aggression to other lanes without actually being there, because you just have so much mana to do stuff. Although, Shadow Fiend and Axe, not your best users of Arcane Aura.
Let's see if they may have something in mind for the safe lane. Is it time to finally bring out the farming less track? Didn't get banned out this game. I believe it was banned out in that opening game when these two teams met.
I think something's for certain that they should get a BKB carrier for their safe lane. It's because it's incredibly good for Gyro and Lina.
Yeah, and Rubik gets picked up, so that's going to negate some of the spell damage coming out. So this is definitely where you're going to be considering maybe some more physical damage. And yeah, there we go, physical damage. It's Juggernaut, not a BKB, or not an ideal BKB carrier. Summer's Rift, don't waste any time. Another Ursa game, Ben.
Ursa's legit, dude. Super legit on Dire.
So good versus Axe again. This is the exact thing that Hellraisers did earlier today. It was Dread on the Ursa, crushed an Axe, took out Roche after Roche.
He's also good for Juggernaut. If he spins, you can just kill him in the spin. And you can just enrage Omni Slash. Easy.
It's a bit of a mix-up because I imagine Malaysia were expecting Gyrocopter to go safe lane, but with this, you don't know what's coming your way. Could be the Gyro versus Axe 1v1 with like an aggro tri-lane. We could see dual lanes.
Could say Gyro mid, but
yeah, that
doesn't seem like their style. I would say they're probably going to go for... I would say, personally, they would do Stormblast and do Gyro Ursa's in the side lanes with the Storm mid.
Could do like a Gyro Rubik offlane with Lina Ursa easily.
Once his enrage is down. But that is easier said than done. Usually it's easier done with items like Yules. Yules, while he's enraged, is just invaluable.
Yules, Force Staffs, Ghost Scepters. Part of the reason why Ursa was considered, I mean, just always has been somewhat of a weak, volatile pick, has been there's so many items that are great at countering him.
Oh, Shadow Demon's really good versus him. It used to be really good versus him.
Well, it's a Malaysia classic. The Sand King used to be the hero that Net would play when he was on this team. And all right. We'll see. Team Malaysia getting pumped up behind us. They're trying to excite themselves for the last game of today. This is it, do or die. They've been in this position. It is also kind of a cool setup because the teams are playing across from each other. They can kind of taunt one another. They can get in each other's head. They can get loud and kind of try to throw their opponents off their game.
One thing they can do is actually just ignore the Ursa. They can just blink past him with Sand King, just like frostbite him with CM and just kill everyone else. Like, what do they... Like, if a Sand King initiates on, like, Gyrocopter plus Lina or something like that, what do they have to really stop that? Like, there's no, like, good counter initiation. They can't, like, counter with a big-ass Epi or a Freezing Field to destroy everyone. A Blink Call, like a Requiem even is pretty good. A Mech. Like, none of these are on the side of Summer's Rift. So I think they have to get Ursa, like, so darn fat or get him some Roshan kills so they can feed the Aegis to other people. I think it's really important that they protect the Lina or the Gyro or whoever's mid to get a decent amount of farm so that you have other threats to worry about other than an Ursa, who can get kited by Ghost Scepters and Forces, and if he doesn't have a BKB, Sand King stun, Crystal Maiden, Frostbite, even Sandstorm is decent. Maybe a Yule's on a Shadow Fiend, although they traditionally like mech. Like, there's so many things to deal with them that I'm a little bit more scared for the Ursa in this game than the prior game from Hellraisers.
Oh, Sven comes out last for Summer's Rift. I have to see if this is going to be a farming Sven or possibly support with Lina, but who's going mid, who's going where? Banana Slam Jammer takes the Ursa. This is one of his favorite heroes. And we'll have to see how the rest of this Summer's Rift draft looks to come together. I don't know what these lanes are. There's so many different possibilities.
I would say Brax on Lina, and then
Rubik,
Jimmy,
Sven,
Rubik?
Gyro, tri-lane. Yeah, Whitebeard on the Sven, support Sven, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, none of these are really like your IX Mike type off-lane heroes. You haven't got that Centaur, Tidehunter, Spirit Breaker. I'm curious to see what they do.
Gotta be versatile, man.
I mean, this is it. You've asked for like some 6.84 drafts from Summer's Rift, and it looks like that's what we're getting from this team. Mike on Lina.
Off-lane Lina, then.
That is not something I've really seen much of.
I have seen it a few times in pubs. It worked out actually better than expected, I would say. Okay, so Whitebeard's actually playing the Rubik. Demon taking up that Sven, and Brax XXX on the Gyrocopter.
All right, well, we'll introduce our two teams here in our final match of today. Team Summer's Rift on the dire side. Going to have Demon, Mr. Jimmy Ho, leading the way on Sven. We've got Brax playing the Gyrocopter. It's going to be Ursa in the hands of Banana Slam Jammer. Leaves IX Mike on the Lina. And then finally, it's going to be Whitebeard playing the support Rubik for Team Summer's Rift. Riding into the Radiant jungle, they're going to be meeting Sand King being played by Mushi. KYXY on Juggernaut, catching him on Shadow Fiend. Hold on a second, here we go. Nice Blade Fury, going to dodge the Stormbolt. He scouts at absolutely everyone, but he's still in a rough spot here. Sand King hits 3 in the Burrow Strike. CM with a nice 3-hero Nova. Everyone on Summer's Rift taking a lot of damage. Here comes an LSA, but not doing all too much. And Mike trapped under the tower. He is done for. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb as Johnny gets his team first blood here. Demon's done for, surely. He's surrounded.
He's definitely
done for. Yeah, Jug gets the last hit.
Very nice spin dodge by KYXY.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had it skilled up, but regardless, still quick reactions. And on top of that, he wasn't scared. Instead of spinning and running away, he spun and ran right into them.
5 heroes. They could have just like right-clicked him through the spin if the backup wasn't there. But
Well, they clumped up for Sand King stun, so I don't think that was entirely possible.
I thought he was going to hit like 4 in that stun. Somehow he only hit 3.
Yeah, it was.
It was a 6-3 hero stun, but I was like, come on, that was meant to hit 4 or 5.
It's a level 1 stun.
Yeah.
Give him some credit. And Crystal Maiden, Crystal Nova at level 1. I mean, just
5
forget
heroes
about
slow. Yeah, good luck.
I think even if they hit the stun on Jug, they don't get the kill. Because they just counter with a... I mean, if Lina stuns afterwards, they can just stun all the melee, so...
Maybe they get the kill, but they're going to lose at least 1 or 2 in return.
Did Shadow Fiend end up getting raised at level 1?
Shadow
Yeah.
Fiend, yeah, okay. Raise level 1. So yeah, High has went Battle Hunger as well, just to help secure some of those kills. So that makes his offlane a little bit more tricky, but...
Yeah, whatever. They got the kills. They got 2 kills. They got the XP. It's all good in the hood.
All right, well, we'll see what the move here is going to be for the Summer's Rift supports. They're already on the move. They picked up a smoke, maybe looking to gank this Shadow
They
Fiend
have to
early
get
on.
kills. I mean, their lineup is
You've got a Lina who's getting zoned out of the offlane.
not for long.
Potentially, depending where this rotation goes for Summer's
Oh,
Rift.
but they might actually run into Mushi. It is 53 seconds. He's
They
going
can't
to be
kill
stacking.
him, really. Well, that's the thing. He's stacking, he pulls back, and as a result, they manage to squeak by undetected.
Sometimes they squeak by, or they go and run to the right or left.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. They're coming from the smoke here. Ketchik-Imba manages to juke and jive around the corner. They get the lift, but here comes a TP. Crystal Maiden will have a Nova off of this. A nice 2-hero stun. Mushi catches out both. They get the Shadow Fiend, but they're going to lose at least 1, maybe 2 off of this. The tower onto Whitebeard. CM helping secure that kill, and here comes a Ohio out of nowhere. 3-for-1 trade. Malaysia.
Where did Ohio come from?
He was checking the rune, the 2-minute rune. Good
40
offlane play,
seconds early?
I guess. You know, I think he was on the ancient spot expecting the smoke to come from the north. Because normally, like, you smoke around and the offlaner, like, tries to scout the smoke gank in, but...
Yeah, but he was playing on the south side, as good SF should. So I don't... That was just strange. But regardless, very nice play from Ketchik-Imba. He dodged a stun for like maybe 1.5 seconds by fogging, which bought enough time for the supports to come in. Good play by Mushi coming in from the right side. And of course, the TP in from the Crystal Maiden to secure yet another kill.
Oh, another Blade Fury dodge on the Stormbolt here. And now Mike in all sorts of trouble. Throws a stun, but the Jug, one last right click. brings down Lena, and KYXY just dominating what is now a Summer's Rift tri lane down bottom.
It seems like this is clearly a disaster for Summer's Rift, being down 5 kills.
I love the CS chart. No one is really farming right now. There's like one hero in the game with more than 10 CS. Now 2 with the Shadow Fiend hitting 10 CS. This is a game of kills.
But the thing is, in this patch, it's very difficult to come back by stacking and farming. So I think they're doing the right thing. Just, I mean, not throwing bodies and throwing kills, but like going for more attempts to kills. And you get 1 kill on like a Shadow Fiend, you're right back caught up in levels. So it's not pretty, but I still think it's the right strategy that Summer's Rift is taking to edge their way up in this game.
Well, they're not edging their way anywhere but down so far. We'll see if they can maybe latch onto some kills here, but for now the supports are not getting much done. As for top lane, where are the supports? Because Banana Slam Jammer is getting ganked. Here comes the Sanking. Double TP will lead to Sanking holding onto his stun for now. The Axe in a bit of a trouble here. Gets hit by the Stormbolt, but Mushi protecting him with a threat of the Burrow Strike enough to deter Summer's
great
Rift.
Positioning by Mushi. And I think him actually not using the stun there was more effective than using it.
If Ursa runs in, there's either a 2-hero Burrow Strike or just a Burrow Strike on Ursa, and that's probably a kill, because CM actually rotated up top as well.
Yeah, that was great positioning. And, I mean, the supports are just everywhere, right? We see a lot of supports up in this top lane. I don't want to give people's positioning away, but there are a lot of them up there.
Okay, well, who the next move for Summer's Rift is going to be. KYXY has phase boots up already, going for 2 points in the Blade Fury early on.
I think with the nerf, I think that's a very well-warranted call from him. Still 34-second cooldown.
You've got the Shadow Fiend. Yeah, it's even worth maxing maybe nowadays with the changes to it. You don't have to be dealing all right-click damage. You can just like go for a fast max Blade Fury and look to maybe gank and prioritize rotating around the map more.
And Brax getting mighty vulnerable in that mid lane.
The mid Gyrocopter in trouble. There's your Burrow Strike into Blade Fury, and Brax can do nothing but fall. Johnny says kill secured.
Man, Juggernaut's so good versus Gyro, too. I mean, like, normally a melee hero is just like, oh, crap, I can't go in Gyro's face because he's going to own me with Rocket Barrage. But you spin, you own him, you don't take any damage from the Rocket Barrage, you don't take any damage from Call Down, and all in all, looks like the picks for Malaysia panning out real well.
Hayo at top, gets the call off, and doesn't actually take too much damage from the Ursa, and suddenly Ursa is looking mighty. Well, low here, and he will get away. Still has the Battle Hunger on him. 2 points in the Battle Hunger as Hayo deciding to level that one up a bit more this game, but rough lane for Ursa. Despite the fact he's up there in the top last hits, he's still not actually farming that well. This is far from free farm. It's just Malaysia prioritizing ganking and pressuring the lanes. They're the ones getting kills. Summer's Rift are not getting kills and not getting great farm.
I find it interesting that the Axe is so far ahead in this lane. Just because it was mostly one-on-one Ursa versus Axe, and Axe had a pretty big experience advantage, but I still think Ursa should win that lane. I think I've actually played that lane before a few times. And if you sit back and farm, you're going to lose because you're going to be standing in the middle of creeps, and then Axe can threaten you with spins, but you have to play outside of the creep wave. And at the same time, we did see the Axe creep skip, and that made things just far more difficult because the Axe wasn't scared of the two supports coming in and just killing him because they simply don't have enough damage.
I think the Axe skill build doing something a bit different is also really helping out because you've got 2 points in Battle Hunger, you can spam it out on Ursa, and you have the CM Brilliantor. That's something which you don't really notice coming to play, but I feel like Brilliantor has been really effective this game because of how much fighting and action there's been.
Kill the rocket!
Oh, that's at least a level 2 homing missile, and Summer's Rift kind of get themselves on the board here. It's their second kill of the game, but it really feels like the first thing to go their way. Their one previous kill they got was a 1-for-3 trade.
One thing I've noticed quite a few times on Ketchuk Imba, he's really greedy with his bottling. And he had a DD in there. He could have just bottled the DD and then used a bottle to live, but he wanted to save it for a more opportune moment. Maybe farming stacks, maybe farming ancients. And it was a similar story versus Secret where he could have popped the regen room, but instead he just died and being at too low HP. So some players do fall into that trap. It does overall pay off in your efficiency, but not if you die.
All across the board, though, things still looking pretty good for Malaysia. Higher in the off lane, getting up to a decent amount of gold towards his Blink Dagger. You've got Mushi already farming the jungle towards his, and Hayo now going to battle out. 4 heroes come his way. Mike's even rotated from the off lane, and down goes Axe. KYXY shows up, has Omni Slash available. Who's he going to find here? The creep wave arrives as well, and Summer's Rift can just look to group up.
He doesn't have mana for spin. He can't go in.
Yeah, and if it gets split between the 4 heroes, or even just 2 or 3 heroes, suddenly That's not going to go all
He
too
could have gone on the
favorably.
Rubik, but he hesitated for half a second, or he might have gotten flogged. I'm not exactly sure which, but that was his only opportunity for a kill in that particular position. And we see Mushi.
Brax now in trouble. 1 raise 2. Down goes Brax. Mushi with a great rotation. It's the time of game where you expect Sand King to be jungling, but suddenly he just rocks up in mid lane.
That's the best part about Sand King jungle, is that you can gank very effectively because people expect you to be in the jungle.
7.5 minutes in, those first observe wards have expired. It's very... Maybe you see like a ward on the hill at the mid every now and then, but...
Very nice observer ward placed out from Summer's Rift in the top lane, and looks like the Crystal Maiden.
Banana Slam Jam in trouble to the Omni Slash. He's going to go down to this one.
He wanted to use the enrage to dodge an Omni Slash, but he had already taken 2 slashes by the time he had come out. And Summer's Rift making a very aggressive play on Old Orange.
This is them looking to punish some of the jungling heroes on the Malaysia side, or possibly for Shadow.
But they're so well fortified.
They're not finding anyone. Until now, they see the Axe. They're going to Stormbolt the Axe. Now follow up with a Lena's done. Is there a Laguna? You betcha. They need everything. They throw everything in the kitchen sink at Whitebeard and manage to get...
I think he knows that there's an observer ward now. The angle that they approached just made it seem like they knew he was there.
They preemptively cast the Warcry and everything, I think.
Well, I don't think he saw them cast a Warcry, but it looked like that they knew that he was there from his vantage point, so they'll have to be a little bit more careful farming that particular area of the jungle.
And Linus, the Rubik and Sven going to continue to be pretty sneaky here. Just chilling their way in the pit. It looks like they're going to go maybe for a smoke of some kind.
And looking at this net worth graph, does not look that pretty, but keep in mind that these bars are kind of deceptive because they're so small. They're all small.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be Roshan now for Summer's Rift here. The Ursa timing comes into play. Their support's also Leech XP, so Rubik hits level 6 off of that. Sven gets some XP, and all around the board, it just makes things a lot more even for Summer's Rift, who are struggling though. The top 4 farmers in the game as far as net worth goes, still all on the Malaysia side.
And at this point in the game, it is looking a little bit difficult for Summer's Rift. They need to make use of this Aegis. I think if things progress as they go right now, I think Malaysia will have enough control of the map to stop the number 2 Roshan from going down to Ursa. So I think that's probably the highest priority for Malaysia. Keep exerting map control, keep Summer's Rift under farm. Don't let them farm their Blink Daggers, their BKBs, their Yules on Lina, anything like that.
Well, CM decides, I'm not going for a big item. I'm going to just pick up an Urn of Shadows, so... Just get some more early game presence here from Malaysia, who across the board are still looking pretty nice here. Even against an Aegis, I feel like they can take most fights, especially with Shadow Fiend, as farmed as he is. You can look to group up as 5, and having an Aegis inside is not going to help you out. It's not like they've got that Queen of Pain type mid-hero or the Storm Spirit who can really make great use of it. Ursa still gets easily kited around and will struggle to deal damage out, even with an Aegis in hand. He really needs a Blink Dagger as soon as possible.
Big item picked up.
Oh yeah, and Ohio ready to jump.
Yeah, KYXY, 6.83 Master Madness phase boots build.
Oh, mid lane, they're going to go in on Ketchigimba. Johnny's there looking to protect him, but unable to do so. The cooldown thrown out as well on Ohio. Blink Call catches Demon. That is not the target you want. Mushi, nice burrow strike, but doesn't have the follow-up from an Epicenter to do much damage. Ohio getting low. Brax trying to chase him down, but suddenly it's a KYXY Juggernaut slicing and dicing, bringing him down. Banana Slam Jammer on the chase, gets a clap, but just level 1. 3-for-1 trade still from Summer's Rift. They chew through the Aegis to make it happen, but that is a decent outcome for them.
Yep, pretty good. Does Mushi have his Blink Dagger? Okay, he looks like he does have it.
Okay, yeah, he's picked it up.
It looked like that Epi didn't really do anything.
Did he actually get it off that fight?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
I think
it looked like it did next to no damage.
I think he cast it on an enraged Ursa.
Okay. Off of that, Summer's Rift claw their way a little bit closer. It was a pretty big goal deficit considering we're just 12 minutes in, so any fight like that is going to work in their advantage.
Yeah, it was all top 4 Malaysia in the lead, and now we see Ursa and Gyro squeak their way in to bronze.
Jug still survived the fight, got some kills, and that's where you look at the Jug and Shadow Fiend. They're still well ahead of Gyrocopter and Ursa as far as the raw numbers go.
Man, he was so close to dying right there, too. That stomp was level 2. Did that stomp even hit?
It did. It looked like it did no slow, but I think it's because the phase plus... I mean, maybe it had the Mask of Madness, but I think the phase alone, with like level 1 clap, I mean, it did very little.
I mean, Ursa should have phase, shouldn't he? Yeah.
I think... Okay, he's got phase? Yeah, he's got phase. Didn't go for the kill. Up to 1900 gold now on Ursa, so that Blink Dagger coming fairly soon, got to imagine. And there's the mech for Shadow Fiend, something he'd been lacking. I feel like if Malaysia had mech there, that fight could have been turned around a whole lot better. The Shadow Fiend just died way too quickly at the start of it.
You know what? I don't think mech does that much with Ursa, though. I think you need straight up, like, Yules or a Ghost Scepter. Ghost Scepter, you know, not that great for Selena, as well as Gyro, but I think a Yule Scepter would be pretty darn good for him. It gets you out of a Lina setup. It can help you dodge Sven stun. You can dodge call down damage as well as a missile, and it can help you kite the Ursa. So I think the benefits for Yule are just far superior compared to mech.
They're going to chew their way through here. Summer's Rift.
Classic Jimmy.
This is classic Jimmy indeed. Mushi going to walk in, gets caught by the telekinesis. LSA to follow, Laguna Blade to make sure he doesn't get anything fishy off. And here comes KYXY. Is there an escape plan? Doesn't look like it. Not for the Rubik, at least, as he gets caught out, as does Demon by the blink call of Ohio. What was initially a pick-off on the Sand King now is getting turned around by Team Malaysia. Demon, TP out, successful. One-for-one trade. It's definitely where we're seeing. I mean, this has been the Ketchik Imba build. It feels like he just goes for the standard treads, Aquila, mech, every single game. Doesn't really think twice, but definitely looking like a game where Yules could have really been very effective.
So not the best trade for Summer's Rift. 1 kill for 1 and potential lose a tower. And I mean, Mushi looked like he suspected that they were over there.
They were pinging. I saw a yellow ping on those trees. I think because they had the lane ward. They probably saw them enter like the shop area with the lane ward.
Yeah, but if you see them, I mean, if you suspect that multiple heroes are there, I think you just epi in. Like,
I mean, what if you don't know? I mean, maybe they TP'd out or something.
3 heroes walk into the tree line to TP out. That is so highly unlikely, especially knowing Jimmy, right? Like if it's in a pub, maybe, but
yeah.
Versus these guys, come on. You know they're up to something. Well, IX Mike trying to farm his Yules, but will die swiftly to Juggernaut. I do not know if it was stolen. Looks like it was only a healing ward from old Rubik.
Not the best spell to be stealing at this stage, and so the next move's going to be, as far as items go, Jug's now picked up a Yasha to go with the Phase Boots Mask of Madness, and Brax at mid lane gets caught up by a Blink Call, going to throw the cooldown out, and makes it hard to chase through that with the slow.
Looks like Axe was not terribly lucky with the spins. I think 1 spin would have yielded a Cole. And yeah, he's going to get mech, but I think he's...
getting very low here, but that sets up a nice Blink Call from Ohio. Can he get Whitebeard low enough? Dunk, not coming out just yet. Ohio, I think, could have had it. Healing Ward on the dire side needs to be dealt with, but CM from the trees. Nice Stormbolt. Can it catch out too? Ohio and KYXY getting healed up now. As the Healing Ward comes out, Rubik the only casualty on the dire side.
Wow, Mushi did not chase for more, even though he has Blink cooling down. A little bit indecisive about his target
Ohio
choice.
Didn't go for the ulti as well, which I feel like he should have had.
Playing with a little bit of hesitation on the Radiant side.
They're still pretty far ahead here as far as overall net worth goes. And now, stealing a decent sack here at the Aegis.
That's scary.
Oh,
Mike. Oh, no.
This is not a place to be. Juggernaut rocking up.
He's just 50 gold away from his... Oh, Ohio.
All right. CM gets another kill. Johnny up to 5 kills, 6 assists. He's suddenly got 1,500 gold and has managed to find his way up to a good bounty.
Very few places are safe for Team Summer's Rift. Desperately trying to find some sort of farm. They need their big items. They need to control the map so they can get the second Roshan. But as it stands, Roshan to respawn in 1 to 4 minutes. And Summer's Rift nowhere close, nor have the map control to attempt it.
And Ursa just doesn't seem like a good hero to play from behind with. It's like, it's really good for snowballing, taking towers, getting Roshas. But playing from behind doesn't really work in this hero's favor.
You pick him assuming you're going to be able to take Rosh. If you don't take Rosh, he's a really weak pick.
Summer's Rift trying to make a little sneaky move here. We see Jug actually go for an unconventional Blink Dagger build.
Blink's useful. He doesn't have to use a cooldown to get out of the Sven stun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is it that useful?
For 2k gold,
Oh, Ketchik Imba.
I don't know. Well, that's a ward. Setting things up here. Ketchik Imba doesn't get the mech off yet. We'll have that heal coming in soon, but that's not going to amount to much. IX Mike now bottom lane gets Burrow Strike Nova to Ohio with a dunk coming in. Misses it. Oh, 2 in a row he's missed. He's bricking.
And here they go. They have a ward over there.
Oh, Blade Mail not going to do too much with the Enrage. Johnny He's hiding out in the trees. He's trying to find a way out as the blink escape comes to the south for Sand King. Johnny now needs a TP out. Looks like he will not be successful. Lift up from Rubik. 3 heroes dead on the Malaysia side. Mushi will escape, but they lost Shadow Fiend, then the CM and the Axe. And
that was such a great timing for the Smoke Gang because now they're able to control Roshan. If it's going to respawn in a really quick time, looks like it has been 8 minutes since the Roshan had respawned. Banana Slam Jamma walking to the pit, but nothing there to greet him. Except empty air.
Yeah, love a fast Rosary spawn, because with the Malaysia lead, they are in that position where they can prevent that easy access to the second Roshan once they get back alive. But
please get another item, Ketchikimba. That helps you from this Ursa, who just demolishes you. Or BKB. BKB would be good too.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going pretty awesome.
Oh, mid lane, KYXY getting blinked on by Slam Jam. What are the actual buffs that Juggernaut got? You can Blade Fury out of slows now. Used to be when you Blade Fury, you're still slowed, but it got tweaked such that you can actually Blade Fury and it dispels like normal Magic Immunity does. But
cool.
Everything else about the spell got nerfed. It's like, let's nerf the hell out of this hero and then give him a tiny little buff to make up for it.
Ursa is trying to farm safely, but I mean, looking at this area, it is just a lot of green.
This Radiant Vision is very impressive right now.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, Summer's Rift, I mean, obviously they want to take Roshan, but the risk is just so high right now, especially if you're looking at it from the Dire standpoint. They just, I mean, they have vision in the jungle, but I mean, what about the area that they're actually in right now? It's not there. But yeah, luckily for them, the Juggernaut is showing on the map, so Summer's Rift don't have to worry about it being stolen. But at some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and they also managed to de-ward some of the Radiant Vision around the pit. And suddenly, what was once like 3 Radiant wards around the pit is suddenly only just the 1 ward at the bottom lane. And Summer's Rift Vision is actually pretty decent into this Radiant jungle. They see a lot of the Malaysia movement right now.
But I don't think it's enough. It's still, oh, they placed another ward. That is a good one, right below Whitebeard.
Yeah.
They need that one so desperately.
This is, and it's not going to secure them, Roshan, but it gives them like good control around this area for when Malaysia try and make a move towards it, or if Malaysia looking to contest it. Definitely a stage of the game where we could see smoke ganks come into play. If you can get like a nice little wraparound, catch an opponent by a surprise with a good jump.
That's a big item. BKB up on Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
It's kind of first big item, but at the same time, stay really good. Epi, Freezing Field, Juggernaut Spin, Requiem, a lot of damage.
I feel like the mid Gyrocopter maybe hasn't fully served its purpose. He went for this max homing missile build. Yeah.
Something has happened.
That's always unfortunate. They're going to walk right into a Yule Scepter here. Omni Slash on the mic. He doesn't get any spells off, and Summer's Rift saw this one coming. Now they're going with the BKB Gyrocopter. Call down. Can they stop the Freezing Field from Johnny? They're not doing it. Finally, Ursa gets in there. We'll lock him down in place. 2 for 2 trade so far. Sankin going to buy back TPs to the mid tower and ready to go with the Blink Burrow Strike soon. Nice 2-hero Burrow Strike. Whitebeard somehow escaped. That would have been the death of him, but he somehow eluded the Burrow Strike, and Summer's Rift has lost 3, about to become 4, unless Brax has something up his sleeves, and it does not look like it here. KYXY will finish off. Blink forward. Did he get vision of this one? Looks like Whitebeard is maybe trapped and done for. Mushi searching, but will not find. Summer's Rift.
Big kill, big buyback from Mushi. I mean, I think without that buyback, the kill on the Ursa would have been a little bit more dubious, but instead, they weather the BKBs and instead run into the pit themselves, and that is, I mean, one of the last straws, I think, for Summer's Rift. That's such a hard team fight to lose right there. I think they had to throw everything at it. More buybacks, just slightly better vision, and with the smoke pop, they also have that observer ward on the high ground, and IX Mike was in like a decent position to pop the smoke, but at the same time, they had vision of him. So they just killed him immediately.
He needs, if he doesn't get off the Laguna Blade in his full kit of spells, it's not, the fight's not going to go well. He has to look to blow up one target quickly with that full
Well, he
combo.
also has to look to not get jumped by Sand King, not get jumped by Axe, and not get jumped by Jug, which happened that fight.
All these heroes with Blink Daggers just cripple Lina in a lot of ways, and I don't know what the answer is. Maybe he goes
Shadow
for like
Blade.
Shadow Blade. BKB is a defensive item, but
I think the #1 thing is better positioning.
yeah. They don't have that great front line. Maybe someone like the Sven is just standing there and dies for the team.
He has Warcry. I mean, Warcry is great.
He may go down to like a Burrow Strike, Call, Nova, etc. raises, but it's a Sven. As long as he just try and throw one stun. Even if you don't get it off, it's better a Sven dies without stunning than a Lina dies without using a stun plus Laguna Blade.
I completely agree, but it looks like Demon sitting at 2233 gold. looking for that item.
All
It's a
right.
good one. And I mean, it's still difficult just because like it's so risky, right? If you try and go on a Sand King, he can blink, he can stun out, he can sandstorm. If you want to go on the Juggernaut, he has blink as well as Omni, as well as spin. So like some of these targets are just not guaranteed kills. Even if you get a stun, Banana Slam Jamma, taking a lot of damage up top.
Oh dear.
Blink initiation.
He's possibly spelling the demise of Summer's Rift here at Redbull BattleGrounds. Malaysia going to find the Burrow Strike on Whitebeard. Mike also caught in a really bad position here. Ahaya gets the dunk in. They're chasing. They want more, but I think they quickly realize maybe it's a bit too deep. They've still got a T2 tower to bring down, and Team Malaysia get up 22 kills to 13, but more importantly, taking tower after tower, acquiring a very big net worth advantage over Summer's Rift.
And now, I mean, Ursa has just not panned out for them. I mean, it was pretty good, and then they just lost too many fights in the early game, and you just simply cannot suffer those sort of casualties.
Well,
KYXY.
The mech keeps him alive for now, and that healing ward is not being dealt with. The Flak will not find it. As a result, the push continues. That's a max level healing ward as well. Suddenly KYXY back to full HP. What could have been his death is suddenly a full HP Malaysia team who can just back off, especially now that Summer's Rift have their full team alive.
And now the surprise factor with Jimmy's Blink Dagger has been used to no avail. However, it is a little sketchy that no one is really defending this aside from Brax, but
That's how I was thinking the exact same thing, and then Gyro decides to kind of pop out.
they are all backing together, although Ketchikimba and Johnny all in the same
Mushi gonna
spot.
scout this out though.
That
Demon blinks in the trees! Oh dear, they may catch out Ahio anyways. It works out in the end somehow.
Sandstorm.
Mushi, what's his play here? Demon gonna go for the T. I don't think he's seen him.
Oh, they have a Sentry Ward. This is... I don't think Mike could do it.
Mushi, what's the play here? Is he in range? He's very close, and
Can we get Dire Vision?
Whitebeard, you got your own Dire Vision bit. He's on the high ground. The trees, I think, allowing him to be in fog.
Does it? No.
You can F3 it up. There we go. Doesn't see him. Neither sees the other here. So close yet so far. Sentry is in, well, was in range when Mushi was invis, which is now worn off, and both these two going to linger around. No one's spotting anyone yet. Mushi going to finally get bored. He's had enough time to think to himself about everything going on in this game, possibly outside of the game, and maybe thinking about what he wants to have for dinner tonight.
Juggernaut getting out of control on the net worth chart. SNY Scotty almost completed the 6.83 Bane.
You were saying, coming in, is like, we need to see more 6.84, and here's Malaysia going as 6.83 as it gets. Axe, Jug, Shadow
Crystal
Fiend.
Maiden, come on.
Okay.
Crystal Maiden did well. She was like 3-0 and 4
Yeah.
at the first 15 minutes.
Got up to and 5-1 and 6 at one point, so I feel like Brilliant Aura as well really helped out the team in the early game.
And it's also a better team picking 6.83. So, yeah. Okay, BKB up on Ursa. That's a big item. But at the same time, it's
So much physical damage. He's got to time the Enrage perfectly, like to deal with the Omni Slash.
And the thing is, with the Blink Dagger on the Juggernaut, it's really difficult to see it coming because they can just time the Ursa Enrage, or sorry, they can time the Sand King stun with the Omni Slash and just kill people in 1.5 seconds. So, and what do you do about that?
Yeah.
If you preemptively enrage, you just don't stun, and it's really difficult. That's just why instant stuns are so valuable to
Not
Dota.
just the Biosec, they've got the Axe Call
Yeah,
as well.
X calls are
so
really good. I mean, there's just instant stuff. X, come on, cast point nerf, 6.84.
Can you dodge it if you got the fast? Well, it's an Enrage, I guess. It's not really dodging it.
He can also blink out if he's super pro sauce.
Get that quick double tap going. So Malaysia lurking around here and trying to see what they can find at the bottom lane. Sand King. Is he going to make a play on this one? Doesn't look like it.
And Summer's Rift, they're probably scared of that ward, which lost them in game number 1.
We saw that, I think, fights were lost by it. The biggest one being that last big team fight. But for now, there's still Radiant Vision up near the secret shop, which hasn't been scattered out yet. Team Malaysia blowing up, 3 dead already. Brax is going to be the 4th, and Rubik scurries back from the fountain.
Man, KYXY with the fast fingers. That's the thing. The Svensson is unreliable. You can't compare it to something like a Sand King Sun, just because instant is just so much more powerful than non-instant. He just completely turned around by spinning, and then boom, everything else came in. The Axe, the Sand King with the stun, the Requiem, and Summer's Rift looking like they will be the first team eliminated.
This is looking bad for them. KYXY Scotty gets delivered, and with the Mask of Madness, Scotty SNY, this is 6.83 in a nutshell as he tears apart the bottom lane of Rax, and CM just glimmering on through the bottom lane, almost taunting Summer's Rift here, as the bottom lane of Rax will be claimed. Summer's Rift not going to tap out just yet. They're going to fight till the bitter end, because this is their last life. This is them knocked out on day 1 of Redbull BattleGround Dota 2, should they not find a way to turn this game around. And I don't know what that way is going to be, Ben.
5-man wipe into Roche.
That's ambitious, but I like it. They've got maybe the team fight to make it happen if they can get that initiation from Mike to blow someone up, get a good cooldown off, but so much has to fall into place. Malaysia also, I feel like, has to completely fumble up their team fight, which is honestly the much better team fight, as we just witnessed.
Only if they get their defensive cooldowns up. Which is, I mean, I guess they have a lot. Glimmer Cape, even Blink Call is pretty good. Stun.
Whoever you go on, it's likely to be counter-initiated on. You can't get the Sand King and the Axe. Axe's call goes through the BKB, so BKB is not a full solution for Ursa. Yeah, Ursa can still attack and do a lot of good damage to the Axe, but
KYXY, Invis, looking for something to do, and the first thing that will happen is a ward to ward, but Summer's Rift, they're kind of all in at this point, looking for a kill in the Roach. That is pretty much their only hope, and if MY just take it slowly and just wait for their lanes to push in, I mean, Summer's Rift almost have like no chance. And if Summer's Rift trying to go for a Roach and they get like Epied or 3-man called or Requiem, it is just game over. So
yep.
Summer's Rift have to tread lightly and tread carefully.
They've lost so much control of the map, and the thing is, even if they go for that pickoff, like smoke up as 5, try and find a pickoff, there's a good chance they run into Malaysia grouped as 5, ready to take that head-on team fight, as we just saw bottom lane. That's kind of what they went for in that last fight, and suddenly they're getting team wiped.
Well, they're going on a sub-prime target, and I think Mushi has done a much better job about his positioning and just not been caught out.
Is this the target? Bottom lane, Banana Slam Jammer blinks in, catches out a Hayo again, who gets off the blade mail. Banana Slam Jammer decides against him with that Enrage wearing off. He's got to be careful. They're trying to retreat. Omni Slash going through, slows onto Banana Slam Jammer. He's just going to turn and try fight. Nice cooldown. Catches 3, but the damage just is not there for Summer's Rift. Great Burrow Strike from Mushi on 3. Brax looking for the TP out. He will succeed somehow in the midst of all that. Chase on though, Mushi, 4-star, blink up in 3, and they've caught Demon with the Scotty Slow. This is going to be a 3rd casualty on the American side, as suddenly this mid lane of Barracks looking very vulnerable.
Excellent kiting by Malaysia. First the Force-Sap into the Glimmer Cape, and then what does Ursa without a blink do at that point?
Very, very little, as we just witnessed.
Well, he also used Enrage, but I mean, I can understand that he just wants to kill the Axe.
At this point, the Enrage keeps him alive, but the Ursa's problem isn't so much staying alive, it's doing damage during his BKB and Enrage. Everyone just runs away from it, so even if his Enrage had like a 0-second cooldown, I don't see it necessarily helping him as far as being able to kill heroes. Maybe staying alive, but
well, that's where Malaysia's just simply far more reliable. The blink stun from Sand King and the blink call from Berserker's Call. What does Summer's Rift have? They have the blink stun from Sven, which is completely backfired on them. In the bottom fight, they have a Rubik lift. I mean, what is it? Rubik lift, and they have Alina with Yules, which pretty much has had almost 0 impact in the game.
Well, looks like Malaysia just one range racks away from Mega Creeps and pretty much securing their day 1 survival. They've been targeted by 2 challenges. They've had to make 2 challenges of their own. It's been a tough, long day 1 for them. And
they still have their Reflector up.
Yep. they'll go into tomorrow, unfortunately with 1 life, so if the game gets reflected to them,
and here they
could
go.
be in some trouble.
Summer's Rift with the last play, potentially, of the game and of the day. Walk right under Observer Ward and go for the YOLO.
This is about as YOLO as it gets. They're going all in. We'll see what Malaysia look to make of this.
Well,
Epicenter being channeled. Here goes Mushi. Burrow strike to follow with the Veil and Banana Slam Jammer. He BKBs, but he's going to life still up on Roshan. He's still alive. He gets Roche, but meanwhile his team get eviscerated. They GG while the Ursa is still alive. Team Malaysia survive. Unfortunately for Summer's Rift, that sees them saying goodbye to Redbull BattleGround Soda 2. Unfortunately,
they got Roche.
it's the small things in life you take away. Definitely coming into this tournament as the underdogs. I think in some ways just happy to have made it here. They had a tough America group where they were not even expected to make it out of. They kind of upset and surprised people making it out of the America group, beating Team Tinker, not today in Root. But here today, on day 1 of Battlegrounds, the only team to be eliminated.
They surprised me by not getting challenged 3 times in a row.
Yeah. I mean, how much was that their own doing and the other teams choosing? But I gotta say, they had some close games. I think even going back, especially to that opening game against Summer's Rift, really a game that could have gone either way with just maybe slightly different like team fight decision making. Their second game was a pretty strong showing. That was probably it was the last game of the day, probably their weakest showing, but all in all, still a decent day of Dota for Summer's Rift, even if they didn't manage to pull any games out.
I applaud their strategy. I applaud their picks. I like the way they played that game. Kind of balls to the wall instead of the more passive, like, okay, we're going to farm up, get huge on PL, and try to win the game. They took risks, a lot of risks, and a lot of times it didn't pay off, but sometimes that's what you need to do versus when you're the underdog.
Yeah, so unfortunately Summer's Rift knocked out. They didn't win any bounties today, but they still net themselves $5,000 for winning the Americas group, so they're not going home
Pleasant say in Santa Monica. They get to say hi to gods. So many positives.
I mean, you're Jimmy's hero practically. What are you talking about here?
And our first team gets eliminated. Summer's Rift with 0 lives left.
Oh, unfortunate, but there we go. $5,000 they walk away with. We see the standings at the end of day 1 of the lives format here at Redbull BattleGrounds. Team Malaysia, 1 life left. Your SEA represent IG and Secret, your China and Europe team. The 2 favorites coming in and neither to drop a game. We'll have to see if either Hellraisers or Malaysia can challenge them, because everything ends tomorrow. We're going to know tomorrow which 2 teams are making it to the finals, which 2 teams are also joining America in the bleachers.
They still look a little dapper. Slightly.
You know, it's been a fun day of games, I think. It's definitely a thing where the team's coming out, having a good time. Good sportsmanship here, as we'll see, unfortunately, America's hero, Demon, getting knocked out. But... he's smiling at me. He's going to be in good spirits in due time. They're going to be. There's a fun day coming up in a couple of days, and well, hope the teams can have their moods turned around. But that does it for day 1. No real big surprises here. I feel like Secret IG going undefeated, also being ignored for the most part. I don't know. I don't feel like there were any major upsets today.
Yeah, a little surprising. Or I mean, people learned something today about 6.84, and I think that's what mostly everyone here is to do. I mean, besides win the tournament, you're looking to evolve, adapt to 6.84, and get an edge. And first step to getting an edge is playing more games, and we got a lot of experience. Hello. Hi, Mike.
Anything to say about those games, Mike? Sometimes you lose. This is the censored version of that. Well, it was a tough tournament for Summer's Rift. Playing with a stand as well, never fun. So it was not going to be easy for them here, but it happened. So
we have some invaders.
We've got an upcoming schedule, guys. Tomorrow, the broadcast is going to resume at noon Pacific time once again. We'll have all of your BTS team, myself, Ben, as well as LD back in the studio covering all your games, as well as Color Guy, of course, and Zayuri's been doing the observing today. But same time tomorrow, the playoffs continue 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, the San Jose LAN, May 9th, and then the big grand finals at the Warfield Theater in May 10th. That's going to be going down. Tickets are on sale. Head on over to redbullbattlegrounds.com. There is still a 2-for-1 special happening there. You guys can use the promo code OGA to buy 1 ticket, get 1 free. Tickets are almost running out there, so be sure to get yours fast. All of that goes down on May 10th, but tomorrow it's when we decide which 2 teams will be going there. Right now, still looking like that secret IG showdown. Do you think Hellraisers or Malaysia have it in them, or is this... I mean, who's more likely to, I guess, cause an upset there?
I think actually, I don't know. Both of them can beat IG or Secret.
Okay.
So
it's not maybe as clear-cut as the current standings suggest.
well, I mean, the problem is who's actually going to challenge them.
Yeah.
I think is the bigger question. So who knows?
All right, well, guys, that does it for day one of Red Bull Battlegrounds Dota 2 playoffs here in Santa Monica. We're at the Red Bull Esports Studio. I'm Gods. He's Merlini, but day one is a wrap. We'll see you guys at 12 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow for the conclusion of the playoffs to decide which two teams are going to the Warfield Theater on May 10th to compete in the grand finals. But that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow.